Side Partners weekly Wednesday webinar. My name is Lindsay St. Arnold Bell, and I am the Associate Director at Near West Side Partners, and I'll be leading our webinar today. So let me first wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. I know that this is so unlike St. Patrick's Days in the past here in Milwaukee, but I do hope you can find a way to celebrate. I wore a green sweater. That's my celebration. Couple updates before we get started with our main event. We do have some neighborhood meetings coming up this week to talk about the CNI neighborhood markers. So Concordia will be meeting tomorrow, March 18th at 7 p.m. and Avenues West will be meeting on March 24th at noon. If you are interested in joining these meetings, please email Anna at ccc@nearwestsidepartners.org to get the Zoom link to join the meeting. You can also visit our website to learn more about the action activities that we have planned, including the neighborhood markers. We continue to operate in the midst of a pandemic. So just a reminder for everybody to continue wearing your mask and to observe social distancing when possible and avoid crowds. We see a light at the end of the tunnel with more and more people becoming vaccinated, but all the more reason why we need to remain vigilant at this time. Speaking of vaccinations, Milwaukee Health Department is currently vaccinating a number of groups and individuals, including educators and child care providers, frontline health personnel, adults age 65 and older, individuals who work in bars and restaurants, and in the food supply chain personnel. So if you are available for the vaccine, we do encourage you to visit milwaukee.gov/COVIDvax and sign up for an appointment. New eligibility will begin next Monday, March 22nd. So a whole new group of people will be eligible. Consider protecting yourself and those you love by getting a vaccine. We also want to share updates about the Hunger Task Force mobile market. There is a new stop here in the Near West Side at Penfield Children's Center. They will be stopping there on Tuesday, March 23rd, beginning at 11 a.m. And if you haven't been to the mobile market before, it's a grocery store on wheels. It has everything that you can think of: fresh food and veggies, fresh meat, milk and dairy, and a lot of other items. The market only accepts debit cards and credit cards, as well as EBT cards. It does not accept cash. And if you visit the Near West Side mobile market at one of the Near West Side stops, you can get a coupon for 50% off. And this is good only at the 4 stops they have in the Near West Side. We have been canvassing the neighborhood with these flyers and with the coupons. So hopefully you've seen these show up at your doorstop. If you haven't seen one, they are available at the market stops. Hunger Task Force is also helping to connect parents of MPS students and of other school students with pandemic EBT benefits, which provide grocery benefits to parents that replace the value of missed school meals. So consider visiting the Hunger Task Force website to connect with those benefits. Now we have a big reveal today. We're talking today about incentives that or resources and incentives that are available to homeowners in the Near West Side. And before we introduce our 2 guests from Revitalize Milwaukee and Housing Resources, Inc., I wanted to share some updates from Near West Side Partners Live, Work, Play program. So Near West Side, over the course of the last 3 years, has been offering incentives to employees who are interested in moving to the neighborhood. Over the course of the years, we have expanded these incentives to include residents in the Near West Side who are currently renting and are interested in purchasing homes. And today we're talking about our new matching grant available for home repairs. So quick overview of this. The 3 incentives offered through the Live, Work, Play program are the $3,000 down payment grants for current renters and employees of Near West Side businesses. There's also a $500 rental grant available for employees. I'm sorry, there's a typo on the slide. And then the new to the Live, Work, Play program is the matching grants for home repairs. And those are matching grants up to $1,000. And a little bit more about these matching grants. In order to be eligible, you must own a home in the Near West Side and occupy it as your primary residence. This could be a single family home, or it could be a duplex in which you are an owner occupant. All the repairs must address an exterior condition that can be viewed from the street. So you can think of like eaves or porches, or they can address an emergency repair ordered by the Department of Neighborhood Services. And unique to this program is that property owners of all incomes are eligible. A couple other points about the repair grant. The grant will match up to $1,000. So for example, if your project costs $2,000 or more, the grant will be for $1,000. If your project is $500, the grant will cover up to $250. It is a reimbursable grant, and everything, all the work must be approved prior to the repair work actually beginning. Only work completed after the review and approval of the grant application will be eligible for reimbursement. The homeowner is also responsible for obtaining all the permits necessary to begin the repair work. This would also include any approvals needed from the Historic Preservation Commission if you are located in a historic district. The repair grant is not to be used for new construction of fences. However, if you are repairing an existing fence on the property and that fence can be viewed from the sidewalk, that would be acceptable. And this is a new grant award. We hope it is incredibly successful. However, we do have limited funding for it. So we will have to limit the number of awards annually. However, we'll create a wait list to manage the demand if there is an ongoing demand. So visit our website. I'll sneak back here to get you there. nearwestsidemke.org/liveworkplay for more information and for the link to apply for these grants. And with that, I would like to welcome our guests, Lynnea Katz-Petted from Revitalize Milwaukee and Emmett Gross, to turn on their cameras. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Good afternoon, Lynnea and Emmett. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing good. Thank you.
Great.
No complaints.
Wonderful. So I think we'd love to start out with a brief presentation from both of you about your various organizations and what you do. And then we'll open it up to questions from our attendees. So Lynnea, would you like to begin?
Sure.
Okay.
Love to.
Pulling up your presentation now. Okay. Can you see that?
We can, yes, thank you.
All right.
Perfect. I love the Vanna assistance. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
So welcome everybody. My name is Lynnea Katz-Petted. I am the CEO of Revitalize Milwaukee, and I'm thrilled to be here and be a part of the partnership with the Near West Side group and also HRI. So next slide, please. So we're going to talk about some brief overviews of what we do as an organization, why it matters to you, and then also maybe some ways that you can get involved as well. So more to come. So next slide, please. Our mission really is to provide assistance. I'm not going to read this because I want to give you my own interpretation of it. But our goal is to really help our community thrive and survive through various different scenarios, one of which COVID, which we'll talk about a little bit, and then also just a day-to-day life. We want to empower people to be able to stay in their homes and to be a contributing member of the community. And sometimes we all need a little help. And in order to do so, we call upon each other, and we're one of those resources in the community that are really proud to be able to provide services to our homeowners and our residents, and then be part of the, hopefully the change and not part of the problem. So we are excited to be here. We operate and in all of the cities around the county, Milwaukee County, and also Waukesha County. So we're in your neighborhood, and we're also in many others. So if there's anybody who you know who needs our services, please just visit our website, which I'll give you at the end. So next slide, please. An overview of our program, we have critical and emergency repairs, and these are all offered for free, by the way. So I want to make sure as we go through this, I'll keep reminding, but somebody who qualifies for our program, which you can also find an application and also send to Lindsay afterwards to share with everyone on this call on Facebook. But our services are provided for free if you qualify. So critical repairs generally are a 0 to 30 day time frame, where we help individuals stay in their home with repairs like a porch, or it could be hand grab or head bars. It could be maybe a new toilet, things like that. Emergency repairs might be a heating issue or electrical issue, and those are generally handled within 0 to 48 hours. We work very closely with occupational therapists, and we have a process to try and help people get assessments so that when they're in their home and they're feeling like they need some assistance in being independent, and that can be any age, it doesn't always have to be seniors, which we generally conclude, but it can be any age. We do accessibility modifications for homeowners and really want to make sure that they can live their best lives and do it as independently as possible. We have our annual block build event, which we have done in the Near West Side in the past, and hopefully will return in the near future. It's an exciting day where we take the neighborhood, work with the neighborhood and the associations and any other partners in the community, and really uplift the neighborhood by doing 20 to 30 homes in a 2-day event. So it's kind of like Home Extreme Makeover, if you guys remember that show, and it's a great way to really do a big, huge impact in a neighborhood in a very short time frame. So it's one of our signature events that we do, and it's very exciting for us to be able to participate in that way. Comprehensive services are really very much part of our signature program as well. We really want to make sure that anyone who calls us, even though we might not have that service available, we find services for them. So if somebody calls us for home services and we uncover that they need either rides to the doctors, or they need assistance with food, or a variety of other topics, we go out of our way to make sure that we know what's out there in the community. And we also connect people to those resources so they don't have to try and find them themselves. It's really important that we're here as a resource. And oftentimes when people call us, they're in crisis mode and they might not be thinking clearly, they might not know where to go, and they really just need a hand in figuring out what next steps. So we are here. The team does an amazing job of giving opportunities to people to not only layer services, but also qualify for different services just based on what they can find out about them. And it works really well in conjunction to our partners' programs as well. We do have REO homes. So for those of you not familiar with that term, it's an opportunity for us to receive homes for free from either clients or from banks or from the city sometimes. And we then turn those homes around, and we do update the repairs, any kind of code violations, that kind of stuff. And then we put it back on the market so that we can have homeowners move back into that home and really elevate the neighborhood. We're trying to do our best to solve the problems of affordable housing for people, and then also make sure that the folks who are maybe not very savory landlords, we keep them out of our neighborhoods as well. Fee for services is exactly that. So we offer our services to individuals who might be over our income limits, and there's a percentage of, if not all, that they cover, which allows them to know with peace of mind that they'll get their job done right, they'll get a job done quickly, and they won't have any issues. And then Chore Service is our last program area, and that was started most recently, and that is a program designed to help people who need minor updates. So that you might need a smoke and carbon monoxide detector, you might need help putting a TV together, you might need assistance mowing your lawn or shoveling snow, things like that. We do for homeowners on an annual basis. We currently, just to give you a scale of understanding of what we do, we have 150 people right now on our snow removal list. So it's quite a lot of people, and we do everything. We do the porch, we do the staircases, we do the driveway, not just the front where they're going to get fined. So next slide, please. Our organization has been around for 21 years this year. We still have our 20th year logo, which my team knows that I have a hard time getting over because we really didn't get to celebrate last year. So I'm going to carry the 20th year logo into this year and do a redo is what I call it. So I joined the organization in 2005. And since then, we have been on a trajectory to really increase the number of homes that we are serving in our community and be as most helpful as we possibly can to our, not only our community, but our partners. So this is a graph of how we have grown over the years. And then also you'll see the map, which will be updated shortly. One of my team members are working on that, but we're really in a lot of neighborhoods and very much overlapping and servicing many of the clients that a lot of the neighborhood associations do as well. And within that, we can really provide very strong solutions to our partners' problems. And we can also help the homeowners that live in those areas. So we're very, very proud of that. Next slide, please. Our impact in 2020, so we had almost 4,000 calls. We did 2,300 individual repairs, and those are going to be, we describe individual repairs by identifying if you were going to hire a contractor to do a repair, what would that look like? And so if they're going to give you a bid for something, each one of those bids are going to be what we consider an individual repair. We did 81 hot water heaters, which is astounding considering we are the only ones right now that are currently doing those. So it's a huge opportunity to make sure that we can keep, especially our seniors in their homes and safe while they're there. We helped 533 individuals. And then also hired local contractors, which is one of the things that most people don't realize we do. So if you know somebody who's local, we love employing local contractors. We love helping them build their business, and we also help them be a bigger part of our community. So we are very big into elevating people in our community and then also helping them grow their business. So next slide, please. COVID, hit us just as much as I think anyone else. The difference for us, though, we actually scaled up as opposed to scaling back. The calls that came in were truly heartbreaking. The situations that were being encountered were quite unspeakable. We had a scenario where somebody was going grocery shopping, one of our homeowners we were helping, and they came out of the grocery store to find that 2 of their tires were slashed. Not to mention that was already, COVID was happening and they're very low income. They had no one to call. So they called us and we definitely assisted them in that scenario. So we handled all kinds of calls, all kinds of challenges, and we're really very pleased to be able to be there for our community. And I want to give a shout out to my team here because they are the ones on the front line that are really showing up for these homeowners, and they do a phenomenal job. So if you're a homeowner and need help, or if you know somebody who needs help, please call us, because the likelihood that we can either help you or find a resource for you is great. So without them, none of this would happen. So they're really phenomenal people, and I would encourage you to touch base with them. Next slide, please. So last year we did 207 free emergency repairs. On average, they're about $2,000 a repair, depending on the situation. Water heaters can be varying cost anywhere from $1,000 to $2,800. And like I said before, we usually do a 0 to 24-hour time frame, but our longest time we really try to stick to, because of the nature of the scenario is usually life or death. We want to make sure that someone is getting assistance within 48 hours. This is an example of a homeowner that called us, and we're really thrilled to be able to help them. Mike and Barbara had no hot water for several weeks, and then they reached out to us and were able to get assistance immediately. What's impressive about most of the homeowners that we serve, they also have mortgages, and they also are, not in this case because they're 24,000, but poverty for Wisconsin is, or pardon me, Milwaukee is 19,800. And so most of our homeowners are not only paying their taxes, but they're also living at or close to poverty. And so for us to be able to make a life-changing difference for them so they don't have to live without basic needs is really important for us. So this is one of the examples that we did just this last year. We did 604 critical repairs. So again, thinking about how do I replace my door in my house, especially when they fall off the frame because the frame is so rotted, is a big worry for a lot of people. Safety and security is one of the basic needs that we like to provide for the homeowners and make sure that they feel safe in their own homes. And this is a big area. Doors are definitely one of the big areas that we do. So another example of how we are working with our community. This is an example, a very extreme example, unfortunately. A lot of times we're having challenges as we get older, and it's just part of life and part of growing. And so this homeowner, we find, and I'm just going to give you a little scenario. We find a lot of homes when we go into them that there might be some unintended consequences of deferred maintenance. So in this scenario, the homeowner didn't know that their toilet was leaking, and it was a very slow dribble. But as you can see over years, that adds up to quite a catastrophic scenario where a lot of times when we go in and someone says we just need to have their toilet replaced, it really is then much more of a dire situation. So as you can see in this scenario, we replaced the subfloor and the floor, and then put in a walk-in shower, which was very helpful for the homeowner as well to be, again, able to be independent. 365 accessibility modifications. Again, these are all kinds of ages we deal with, which are really important to keep people in their homes. It's how do you operate in a way that can help you do your basic needs. So how do you cook your food? How do you get in and out of your house? How do you get your mail from your mailbox? All those kinds of things are really important to us, and we really make that a priority for our program. This is Alan. We love Alan. Again, scenario before and then after, and then him be able to do his showering and taking care of himself on his own is, made his day. So some of these repairs are more extensive, as you can see, and others, sometimes we're just putting a tub bench in, which makes, again, a world of difference. So the demographics, what's interesting about this is we typically are finding ourselves serving people who are headed by a woman. So that means that there's likely a single family scenario, or the households might be where somebody who is a woman is employed individual, and the other individuals in the homes are not currently adding to the income, which makes them a head of a household. We serve all ethnicities and all cultures. It is really important to us that we find a way to break barriers down in our community and not be, again, part of the problem. We really want to learn what somebody needs in their home. And we also make sure that it's their idea. So we're not going into the home and saying, this is what you need done. This is what we ask them, what would they like done? We work with them and not dictating to them, and they have many choices in the process. So it's I think a really great empowering way to work. We focus on veterans as well as seniors and people with disabilities, and also the families of veterans, which is really important. And then our income levels, again, are at or below poverty most of the time, and that works out to about $1,600 a month and $20,000 a year. And then one of the surprising statistics that most people don't realize is that with all of that challenge on their plate already, most of our homeowners have mortgages of $600 or more, which is, again, you know, you try and think of living a day in the life of, it's a lot. One of the things that we want to make sure that everybody knows is that we are twice as susceptible to die from falls in Wisconsin as any other state. How that translates is not because of the snow and the ice, because we have many states that have that complication as well. It's really about us being able to get into the homes, prevent falls by installing accessibility modifications or giving people the assistance they need. This is a really important fact that we need to share within our community and make sure that we can be part of the solution so that somebody else doesn't have to needlessly fall in their home and die alone because we could have been in there and assisted them with some accessibility modifications. So if you take nothing away from this presentation today, please take that and then call us if you need help. So thank you guys. All of our information is on our website. The team here is ready and able to assist you. And if there's, you know, you don't know where to go for help and it might not be in relation to housing, call us because we're here for you.
Thank you, Lynnea. That was a wonderful presentation and truly shocking to hear the stats about Wisconsin's fall fatality. Definitely want to talk about that more as we get into our Q&A session. So now I'd like to turn it over to Emmett Gross from Housing Resources, Inc., HRI. Emmett, can you tell us a little bit about what HRI is, what you do, and who you work with?
Yes, so Housing Resources is a HUD-approved counseling agency. We're a homeownership center, NeighborWorks Homeownership Center, which means that we cover pretty much every aspect of homeownership from the first day people are thinking about buying a home up until pretty much the last day they're in the home. My role with Housing Resources is as the home preservation manager. And that means basically I cover everything that has to do with somebody that's already in a home. A lot of our services are geared for people who buy homes, but once you already buy a home, then I'm kind of in charge of what happens after that. So that includes people that have questions about refinancing, people that have questions about equity, people who may be facing problems with foreclosure, a lot of questions and issues regarding property taxes, especially this time of year, questions about escrow on mortgage, why the escrow changes, why mortgage payments change. Also, it includes home repairs and tools through our tool loan center, which can provide tools to homeowners free of charge. And it specializes in kind of high ticket and specialty items. So things like snow blowers, they have some lawnmowers, especially tools that you may need only once and don't necessarily want to buy, like tile cutters and things like that. You can check those out of our tool loan center. It's a $25 annual membership, but then the tools are available free of cost to do home repairs. And also through that program, through the home repair program, we're developing now some do-it-yourself videos and some step-by-step instructions for simple projects. So really excited about that project and getting all that stuff in place. Probably the biggest project, though, that we're working now that a lot of people are interested in is the mortgage rescue program. And what that does is can provide direct assistance in the form of payments directly to mortgage companies for people who have fallen behind on their mortgage due to something related to COVID-19. And that's a huge program. It's a huge thing that we've had. I've been doing post-purchase work and foreclosure prevention work for close to 15 years now. And this is really only the second time we've ever had an opportunity to provide direct financial assistance to homeowners. We're really excited about being able to do this. The way it works, there's a two-step application process that can be done through our website. Our website can be found at hri-wi.org. And what we ask for is information about the mortgage and documentation for the hardship and how it relates to COVID-19. And we try and keep that kind of idea of related to COVID-19 as open as possible. So it can be, people who have lost their jobs, people who have seen reduction in income, but it also can include people who have had to temporarily or permanently leave their job because of health concerns where they don't want to be, out in the workforce among people, or because their children are in virtual school and they need to be home to kind of look after the children rather than out working. So all those kind of scenarios can be covered under that program to help people get caught up with the mortgage and hopefully stay current on the mortgage. That program is running through the end of June. The last date to take an application is June 16th, so almost exactly 3 months from today, which is not as much time as it sounds. So we definitely encourage people to start the process early on, get the paperwork together, and really work with us. We have a hotline team that works directly with people who may have questions either about the program or about the application process. It's all done online, so we have a lot of people that aren't super computer savvy, and they call in and we can walk you through step by step through our call center to help people get applied and hopefully get as much money out as possible. The hotline number is 414-369-6914. And like I said, it's a great resource. It's a very rare opportunity that we have the chance to be able to make payments for people, get people caught up directly with their mortgage company. Most of the work that I do related to foreclosure is counseling work, and that's really important work that's dealing directly with the mortgage company, dealing with the homeowner, making sure they understand what's going on with their mortgage. But a chance to actually give money away, get people current on their mortgage, get them back on their feet and get a fresh start is really an exciting and rare opportunity. And I'm happy to be a part of it and happy to be able to talk to as many people about that program as possible.
Thank you, Emmett. I do appreciate that. And for those of us, for those joining us on Facebook, we have put into the comment section links to both HRI and Revitalize Milwaukee. And we are also doing that here in our chat function. So anybody joining us here on Zoom will have access to those as well. I would like to open it up to questions from our viewers shortly. So if you are viewing us here on Facebook, please put your questions for Emmett and Lynnea into the comment section. And anybody joining us here on Zoom, please use either the chat or the Q&A section to share your questions. I will kick it off with a couple questions I have for myself. And Lynnea, maybe I'll start with you on this one. What should homeowners, as the weather starts to turn and summer comes, what should homeowners be thinking about related to repairs and improvements this time of year?
That's a great question. And one of the resources that I'm going to be sending you is a couple checklists actually for homeowners to go through this spring to make sure that they're, some of the things are going to be obvious. You want to make sure that the drainage is floating away. You want to make sure your outside areas for venting and that kind of stuff is open and free. But there's a number of other items on the checklist that really would be like, oh, I never thought about that. So I'm going to send that over to you, and then you'll be able to share that with your audience. And then also it'll be a link to our website so we can make sure that people are kind of looking at how they're kind of taking care of some of these maintenance items before they get to be too catastrophic. One of the other things that I can tell you a story on is when people reconnect their hoses to their spigots outside, just make sure that those washers are real tight and then you're not dripping. We had a scenario where the spigot was dripping for about 30 years and it ended up causing a foundation issue inside the home. And it really was due to a 10-cent washer. So check out your spigots when you're putting your hoses back on your homes and making sure that kind of issue is not a big deal. Great question, though. I'll follow up with you with that listing, Lindsay.
Thank you. Emmett, is there anything you would add to that list?
Um, in terms of home maintenance, yeah, water is always a big issue. Managing water, getting it away from the building. Um, our home preservation specialist, who does a lot of work with repairs, is always discussing that. We talk about making sure gutters are clear, avoiding backups, especially with the kind of thaw-freeze cycle that we're going through now. You get things start to melt, you get water built up, and then it freezes, and then you can really have problems. And that's another, like Lynnea was saying, can be a very simple fix to prevent a very expensive problem down the road. So, yeah, I mean, water is probably the number one thing you got to watch out for as a homeowner, I think.
Thank you. So you both mentioned some of the programming adaptations that you've made or new offerings that you have in response to COVID-19. And I'd like to hear a little bit more from both of you on, how people can connect to these resources, or if they are in a position to assist, how they might best connect with your organization to provide assistance. So Emmett, you had mentioned that there's an upcoming application deadline for mortgage assistance related to COVID. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what people who are utilizing it might need to prepare?
Yeah, so like I was saying, it's a two-step process to apply for the mortgage assistance program. The first step is just, it's 6 screener questions just to kind of make sure you meet the basic eligibility requirements. So residency within the Milwaukee County, the home has to be homeowner occupied. You have to have fallen behind because of COVID, and there's a cutoff date of March 1st, 2020. You have to have fallen behind after that date. So, I mean, we're so far into it now that's not so much an issue anymore, but it is something that we still look at. Once you're approved for the pre-screen application, then there's the complete application, and there's a few documents that we do need to review the application. The biggest things we need are a copy of an ID, because we're doing everything remotely. Everything's being done virtually and over the phone. We just need some documentation that you are who you say you are, and the address matches with the property address that you're getting assistance for. We need the most recent mortgage statement, because we need to know how much money you need and where to send that money to get you current on the mortgage. There's a couple of forms that we ask you to fill out that can all be done online. The forms are all fillable, so there's no need to print or upload or anything like that. And that's a big time saver to be able to do all that online. And the other thing that we ask for, the other big thing that we ask for, is some kind of documentation for the hardship. So if the business closed, some kind of layoff notice or cessation of business letter, pay stub showing reduction in hours. If it's because children are doing virtual school, some documentation about when that started, and documentation about having to miss hours or leave job to be home for that. And like I was saying, we try and be as flexible with that documentation and work with homeowners as much as possible to get the documentation that we need, because we're trying to get everybody to an approval status. So, sometimes it means having to go back and get extra documents, and sometimes that's frustrating for the homeowners, but we're only doing that because we need that to get people approved. And so, that's where the call center and the people that work directly with the applicants are really valuable and do most of their work.
Thank you. Lynnea, you had mentioned newer, at least, to Revitalize Milwaukee is your Chore Service. And I find this so interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So one of the things that we have learned in the process of working in our community is that, unfortunately, when homeowners get fined for snow removal, for example, or not having their lawn cut, it goes directly on their taxes. And then what that happens, then it just magnifies the bill that they have to pay, and then also fines then build up on that. And then through that process, within a very short time of 2 years, they could be in potential foreclosure situations. So while it seems like, hey, mowing your lawn is not that big of a deal, But if you're in a wheelchair or if you're in a situation where your mobility is compromised, you really can't do it, and it's not safe. So we go and do those chores for individuals, and we do it for free. And it's really important to help them, not only not get fined by the city, but also to make sure that they're real proud of their homes and that they want to, show their homes off and be a part of the community. There's all these different things that when we talk about the work we do, we often talk about the spirit of the homeowner and the hope that they are regained by working with us, so that they can feel proud of their homes again and be able to exit and enter them. With that, we also are looking always for volunteers. There's a question in the chat for volunteers. We always are looking for volunteers. And there's a website that you can go, or on our website, pardon me, you can go and actually sign up to be a volunteer and let us know what your skills are. And then we can customize the jobs to help you give back in a way and also a timely fashion that's going to be suitable for you. So some of our volunteers come every weekend and they want to do some work, and then other volunteers, they come once a month and pardon me, and we set them up as well. Also, just to mention again, we always are looking for skilled contractors. And so if there's somebody that that again wants to work, very flexible schedule, all of the materials are bought on our accounts, and then we ask the contractors to go up there and really help us help as many people as possible. So this year we're on track to do 400 homes, and not including the Chore Service. So it's pretty incredible.
That is incredible. Near West Side Partners has partnered with both Revitalize Milwaukee on a block build and with HRI as part of our Live, Work, Play home ownership incentive. And I'd love to hear about how we might collaborate on our newest Live, Work, Play incentive, which is the home repair grants for homeowners. These are, as I mentioned earlier, matching grants of $1,000 that are available to homeowners. We are open to the sourcing of their matching dollars. So I do hope that there is an opportunity where we can pair up, be it working with somebody from Revitalize or maybe tapping into some of the tools available at HRI to assist our homeowners with these repairs.
I definitely love that concept, and making sure that we can layer the services that are out there for the homeowners to maximize their dollars to go as far as possible just totally makes sense. So any collaboration opportunities that we have to work with other organizations, we love. So all they need to do is just work with us and let us know if they're working with a program through the Near West Side, and we can work with you on the backside to really work out the logistics on how that might look and help get homeowners. In addition to your services and potentially Emmett's as well, we can also layer other potential programs that we are aware of, either a TID or a TID, or with the TIN programs, weatherization, all that kind of stuff. So it's really a great opportunity to get one-stop shopping for the homeowners.
Yeah, and that's something we definitely would be excited about too, through our tool loan center and the rehab services that we provide through that center. I mean, we're always, we get calls every day about funding for repairs and programs to help homeowners make changes or repairs to their homes. So any resources we can find, any resources we can connect with people, or services that we can connect with are definitely something that we want to be a part of, and make sure that we're utilizing those things as much as possible. That's always kind of a tricky thing in this business. You focus on what you do, and it's always you want to know as much about what other people are doing as possible, so that you can, like Lynnea said, connect with as many different resources as possible. Stack as much benefit as you can and combine as many things as you can. So we're always looking to do part of that.
Definitely. The Near West Side's homes inventory are beautiful historic homes, and our average aged home of 100 years definitely is in need of ongoing repairs and maintenance and accessibility modifications to help our population age in place. So I am going to do we're coming up on our 1 hour mark here. So I'm going to do another open call for questions from anybody joining us on Facebook or on Zoom. And as we wait for those additional questions to come in, if there are any, I'd like to ask you two if there's anything that you think is important to talk about today that we haven't touched on already.
For me, I really encourage people in the community to build a stronger community is to get to know your neighbors. And that's kind of a thing of the past. But that's one thing that we find as a benefit when we work, especially on the block builds, is that it really changes the dynamic of the neighborhood and also increases the safety of the neighborhood. So, and it's always nice to be able to see people connect and then also be there for one another. So back in my day, you'd go knock on your neighbors for some sugar or an egg if you're making a cake and you're running out. But it'd be nice to return to those times. And then also just checking in with people, like if you're not comfortable, maybe getting them some help or finding out if they need help, you can always call us and we can anonymously send them an application to try and assist them, because a lot of times pride is very, very strong, and we want to preserve that pride. We want to meet people where they're at, and we want to be able to still be a resource for them that they might not know about. So check on your neighbors, learn to get to know them, and the community will be a better place because of it. So.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to build on what Lynnea had mentioned earlier about things rolling onto property tax bills and causing a problem with property tax bills, code violations, water bills are another big thing that roll on to property tax bills and cause homeowners a big problem, both for people who have mortgages and people that own the home free and clear, because you get these bigger bills that you weren't expecting and have to try and find a way to budget to pay them off. And this kind of ties in a little bit to the maintenance things where we were talking about little things that can lead to big problems down the road. So, one of the things I stress to everybody as a homeowner is, be aware of those little things that can roll on and cause problems on that property tax bill. Water bill is definitely a huge one. I see more problems caused by water bills that roll on the property taxes than almost anything related to people with trouble paying the mortgage. So anytime I get an opportunity to talk to people, I always stress that please pay your water bill. Don't let it roll onto your property taxes, because it's an absolute killer if it rolls onto the taxes and then your escrow is adjusted, and you can see jump of hundreds of dollars in a monthly payment, and that prices a lot of people right out of their homes. So that's a big thing I stress to everybody. Please take care of that, take care of the code violations, anything that's going to make it more expensive for you, especially things that can roll over year after year, where 1 year you might be able to manage it, but 2 or 3 years down the road, suddenly things are really out of control price-wise. So, starting early on and addressing those problems before they become issues is really an important thing. And that's what I try and stress. I'd much rather prevent problems than fix them later on. So anytime I can provide that information to somebody ahead of time, rather than having to deal with them after they're already in trouble, I try and take advantage of that opportunity.
I think this is such great advice. Think proactively, work proactively, and get to know your neighbors. I can't think of a better note on which to leave this. I want to thank you both so much for joining us today for this webinar. We have a lot of resources that we will be sharing, both on Facebook and through the Near West Side Partners website. And we will be sure to include your contact information so that people can reach out and connect directly with Revitalize Milwaukee and with HRI. Again, this is a valuable resource, not just for individuals in the Near West Side who are homeowners, but if you're renting and you know, you see a neighbor that maybe needs some help, or you need some help, definitely reach out to Near West Side Partners and to these organizations, and they can connect you to the right people. So thank you both so much, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you for the chance to talk.